The Honda Insider Report brings us Candace Parker to the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Candace?
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great. I've really enjoyed what you've been up to. You enjoying it yourself?
I am enjoying. I am learning. I am, obviously it's funny when people say it's work because, I don't think talking basketball is work. So it's been a fun experience.
Well, but the work would have to be, I guess, learning who all these players are. I mean, deep down in Nevada and UMBC and stuff like that. I mean, I wouldn't know who these people are off the top of my head. I mean, you've had to have done something on that front, right, Candace? I imagine?
Definitely. When I was presented this opportunity, I think it was like a couple weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago, I jumped at the opportunity, but I was a little hesitant because I watch college men's basketball. But I don't watch, obviously all 68 teams that were in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
So I think I was, kind of like studying for exams. I was kind of cramming a little bit and trying to get to know, all the teams. But really, it just has gotten easier as the tournament's gone on because, you're able to see the teams and see them play. And obviously, there's less teams. So. But this has been an amazing experience for me, just learning from everybody, and sometimes I have to pinch myself to realize who I'm sitting at the desk with.
Yeah, I know. It's been fun watching you have fun with everybody that you have been on the desk with. Candace Parker here on the Rich Eisen Show. So who's set to make the run? What do you think? Cutting down the nets.
I am a Nova believer. I watched them play, obviously throughout the year as well as, through these first two games in the NCAA tournament. And I wouldn't take my prediction with a grain of salt, though, because I picked Arizona to go, to the Final Four. So I don't know if I would take what I say and hold it in high regard. But I like Villanova. I like the way they're playing. I like their depth, and I think they're gonna make the run.
Okay, so then who do you think stands in their way? Who do you think's got the chance to make sure that might not actually materialize? Is it West Virginia? Could it be Texas Tech or Purdue, or maybe in the lower bracket, Duke, Syracuse, Clemson? What do you think?
Duke is peaking at the right time. When they're able to mix their inside-outside game, Duvall's hitting shots now. You got Grayson Allen that's knocking down the three, and of course Bagley and Wendell Carter Jr. are handling the inside as they have been all year. So. I like Duke. I think, people aren't really talking about Texas Tech. And I think in NCAA, the key to winning is obviously you have to have experience at the guard and you have to have a great playmaker, somebody that can create in those broken plays. And Texas Tech has that. Obviously, Evans have been a huge fan. They have tremendous athleticism with Zaire Smith. And, it's been fun. If anything, it's been fun watching them play.
And Coach K passed your coach, Pat Summitt, for winningest coach in college basketball history, Candace. And I'm wondering what you thought of his statement. I appreciated that he basically said that Pat would have won more if she didn't get sick, and that was his first 2 cents. I'm wondering what you thought when you heard that statistic being mentioned.
Well, first off, it's a huge honor for him to pass Coach Summitt. I think she really respected Coach K. Everything that she spoke of him, was with tremendous respect and high regard. And, he obviously is one of the best basketball coaches there ever will be. And I can't think of a better person to pass her in terms of if you look at identical philosophies, growing the person, not just the athlete. Being able to change with the game. I think that's underestimated with Coach Summitt changed with the game of basketball. She was old school, and she was able to kind of come into the new school of basketball, and I think that's what made her successful, and it's the same with Coach K. So I think, along the wins, of course, that's a measure of greatness, but I think just the amount of respect that she had, there's not a better person that could have passed her.
So how was she hard on you? How'd she coach you?
She was really hard on me. It was tough love, but it was definitely love, and I knew it was coming from a great place. And, on the court, extremely hard, pushed me, wanted me to be the best, set goals, set challenges, didn't let me coast. But off the court, what I remember is, her jalapeno corn, her homemade ice cream. I remember all that stuff because she cooked for us all the time. So I just think the reason why, another reason is just in terms of the way that she was a mother, to her son. And I think that that's kind of had a huge influence on the way that I parent my child.
So then how do you parent your child? I mean, when it comes, how did she coach you on that front? I'm fascinated to hear that.
Coach Summit didn't coach with results. And I think that's what I didn't understand when I was 18 to 22 years old. We'd win the game by 30, and she'd be sitting here talking about rebounding. I'm like, but Coach, we won by 30. Like, what does that matter? And she's like, but we didn't rebound, And I was just like, it may not matter at that time. And I think that's the way I coach my daughter. Like before, she'd bring home an A, and I'd be like, yes, you got an A, congrats. But she didn't study. She didn't study for that A. So now I celebrate her preparation for it. Regardless of whether she gets a bad grade or a great grade, you celebrate the preparation and how much time you put into preparing and how much time you put into your craft.
So was Coach Summit a better coach or cook or chef? Which one?
Oh, my goodness. Don't make me choose.
Oh, you have to. You must. You must.
She was a pretty good cook, man. I don't know.
Wow.
I think as great as a coach as she was, I think she might have been a better cook.
Wow. Damn, take that, Coach K. Let's see your recipe now. Candace Parker of Turner Sports and, of course, the WNBA and greatness at Tennessee. And in that regard, Candace, I'd love for you to try and put yourself in Virginia's shoes. I mean, you've been a top seed in the NCAA tournament, knowing that the 16th seed would love to pull off the upset of the century, and just watching what UMBC did to Virginia. I'd love to get your perspective on that.
And just sitting there watching that game, Seth Davis, huge fan. I mean, obviously he works college basketball, but he's just a huge overall fan of men's basketball, men's college basketball. And to see his excitement, that this finally happened. And, obviously you don't want it to be you for Virginia, because I feel like that's kind of one of those things that it's forever going to be attached to your name, And I think we forget sometimes, how crazy basketball is. I mean, you look at the NBA and you look at last year, even as great as Golden State was last year. San Antonio had them on the ropes. If Kawhi doesn't get hurt, San Antonio has them on the ropes. They probably win game one at Golden State. Now, if that's a one-game thing, if that's do or die, like one game, Golden State's out, and they're probably one of the best teams in the history of basketball. So if you look at it that way, I mean, everybody has an off night. It just is unfortunate. I mean, I guess it's great for the fans, but it's unfortunate for the players, because if you have one off night, your margin for error is really small.
And when you just mentioned the Warriors, makes me wonder if you think this could be the Rockets' year, because the Warriors are all banged up right now. I know it's kind of early right now because we're not even in April yet, but what are your 2 cents on that, Candace Parker?
The Warriors are so deep, and they haven't even scratched the surface. I mean, you're looking at the Warriors, and you got to measure hunger. It sucks to have the talent to be able to turn it on when you want, but the Warriors have the talent to be able to turn it on when they want, and Houston is hungry right now. Nobody has won a championship. Everybody doubted them, doubted the system, doubted Chris Paul going there. So they have a lot. They're back against the wall playing. The Warriors have won 2 out of the last 3 championships, and they've reached the finals, 3 straight. So, I mean, I think they're going to turn it on, and I think it's going to be a great series, but I think they're going to make it back to the finals.
Okay, a couple more minutes with Candace Parker here on the Rich Eisen Show and the Honda Insider Report. Are you and Sister Jean all cool with Loyola Chicago
we're cool.
beating Tennessee?
We had our problems.
Okay.
No.
We'll make sure you're all
that one hurt. Oh, my goodness, that one hurt. They asked me whether I would like to play or watch the game, and I think, honestly, playing the game is less nerving than watching.
I mean, you have no control sitting there in a studio. By the way, I don't know what your take is on this, because, obviously I've had a camera trained on me on a studio set while a team that I have nothing but passion for is losing. And I don't feel there should be a camera on me. I take a little offense to that. I mean, but
we had to go on set after that, and so I had to be out there to watch it, because I was watching it in the back for the whole game. And then we walked out there.
It's not right.
They got me.
Especially since you were.
Now I know.
You celebrated too soon. You celebrated too soon.
And one, I just assumed that Tennessee's defense would be able to lock them up, but a lucky bounce. I mean, I keep replaying it. I know they have to be sick, because I am, but they're a good team. Everybody's probably coming back next year, so I think
Okay.
This is a good year to build on. We're learning.
And how do you handle the tournament? Do you want now Loyola Chicago to go the whole way because they beat your team? Because that usually is the way it works for mere mortals. What about you?
I don't know. I'm from the Chicago area.
Yes, so that works.
I think basketball around Chicago, everybody supports, and, it's kind of a big deal, obviously. But, the competitive spirit in me doesn't want that to happen, because that could have been Tennessee.
I like it. Hey, look, Candace, enjoyed the chat. We're here in El Segundo. Please come by in studio. I'd love to have you here in person.
I would love to. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we don't have a curse button though, like Area 21. We don't have that.
Oh, no. I have to censor myself.
Okay, but we could have used it yesterday, actually. Here on the show.
We needed it yesterday.
We had a couple S-bombs here for our guests.
Oh,
but
no.
Yeah,
we had a couple of those, too, over the weekend.
Yeah.
It happens.
It does. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Look forward to the next time.
All right. Thanks so much.
You got at Candace_Parker.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.